Hello, good evening, and welcome to the show. This was The Couch. My name is Pratt. Today being a Wednesday, it's the book review edition of the show. Now, last week, we started with this book, The Smart Money Woman. The Smart Money Woman, an African girl's journey to financial freedom, and it's by Arise Ugu. This one, we have had feedback actually. Thank you for the feedback. We are continuing with this book. Now, I dare say that we are going to be staying on this book for a while because the nuggets make for very interesting points of conversations. But beyond that, it's also the fact that it's a story. And so far, we haven't touched on the story, looked at it in terms of its value as a literary work by itself. We are just dealing with all the brilliance, of the financial issues that come up as pertains today's African woman. So yeah, The Smart Money Woman, we are continuing with this. Of course, I've been joined by the ever beautiful, financially savvy Hilda.
Hey, what's an introduction?
Yes.
It's always good to see you.
And today we are twinning the purple.
Yeah, who knew?
Yeah, twinning with the purple. Have you had feedback?
So many. I mean, this is the first time I've been on the show and I've had feedback. I don't know whether because I was able to share the flyer early, thanks to TJ. But it was amazing. Like, I had so many people telling me they watched the show and they were following the show. Right. And I felt that, we did something right by choosing this book. Yeah.
I think that she did something right by writing
the book
on this subject. So, take it away, Hilda.
Okay, Amma. So, I think last week we spoke at length about what it means to be broke and what wealthy really means. Mm-hmm. And so today we're going to dive into maybe some of the things that makes us, that leads us into going broke, or that can propel us into being wealthy.
Right.
And so today, the second nugget is what? Conquering money fears. Mm. Okay, so it goes like this. There's a lot of fear surrounding the way African women feel about money and the subsequent consequences of our relationship with money. When it comes to money in relation to our families, our businesses, our friendships, and society, many African women worry about not having enough to survive, not having enough to measure up to the lifestyle of our friends and family, the fear of failing in business, the fear of not being able to afford the lifestyle one has become accustomed to, then losing it all and becoming dependent on others. Amma, please continue.
Ultimately, how we behave with money is deeply rooted in how we think about money. And fear can be a very crippling thing. It can stifle you and stop you from taking action to achieve your goals. But we must realize that fear is just an emotion. It is worrying about something that has the possibility to occur in the future. Unfortunately, this fear can be paralyzing. So sometimes, instead of confronting and facing those money fears, we hide from them and avoid them. However, confronting our fears is always the right step towards conquering them.
What you deny or ignore, you delay. What you accept and face, you conquer. At the end of the day, we are all afraid of something, but the difference between successful people and average people is that they acknowledge their fears, but don't let fear overcome them or stop them from achieving their goals. Interesting.
Can I just say that I can't relate?
You can't? You're bougie, you're rich, you're rich woman.
Amen.
A bougie rich woman.
I mean, for instance, right? You find a job, you do a job, or you don't find a job, you don't. I mean, I can't associate with this crippling fear that is being expressed here.
Okay,
Crippling fear, paralyzing fear.
Let's break it down.
I don't think I've.
Yeah, let's break it down.
Right.
Amma, I said you're a pushy woman.
No.
I mean, you were driving when you were doing your national service. So
stop it.
You know, a comment I got from last week's show.
No.
So someone goes like, was Amma telling us to boil tomatoes and freeze it that she cook? Yeah. So,
she does. She cooks very well, actually.
So no, but this is very relatable.
Right.
I always say that when we're growing up, we lost our dad when we were very young. So we were raised by my brother and I were only two, raised by our mom. And when you grow up, like when certain things are not available, you aspire not to be like that. You understand? I didn't come from is it what they call they will call average home. I came from like an average home. It's not like we're poor that this thing. I don't consider that we're poor, but when you watch TV, when you read, you know, certain things that you see, you don't see it at home. You want to move from there. Okay, you wouldn't want to live that you can't. Not that you can't. If I say we can't, then that's maybe. I don't want to mention my story again about this. But to live.
But I enjoy your stories.
But to live, you know, being able to afford certain things that you consider basic. Being able to drive a car to work is not a luxury. I always say that driving is not a luxury. It's become some sort of a necessity.
Right.
And when I bought my first car, it came out of that place. I had gone for lectures and fell asleep, evening lectures in a church at the back. I just got down and left all my books, in the car and went home. I got home before I realized that I had left all my books.
Everything.
Came back to the junction, started asking each and every driver, and I didn't find my books again. So it was through that frustration I was like, okay, I mean, I made some savings, I could afford a car, why not? That's when I went in to buy a car. But those are the things, you know, okay, so what if I didn't have that savings to buy a car?
Right.
Can I afford to maintain the car? Or will I be going back to picking Trotsky? Will I be going back to picking a taxi? You know, if you are putting yourself through school by your own means, maybe through your savings, you wonder. The fear is there that maybe something might happen and you might not be able to afford that lifestyle that you have, you know, entered into, that new phase that you have entered into, because the bars keep raising. It doesn't come down. You understand? So if you listen to most of our songs, I mean, that our musicians' channels, it's like coming from, you know, rags to riches. And when you get there, you want to make sure that you maintain,
stay there,
and then stay there, or even go higher. So yes, there are these fears that, okay, I don't want to find myself that today I can drive a car and tomorrow I can't drive a car again. You understand? So most people have that fear. They do have that fear, and it's real. They do have that fear.
I appreciate what she has. Perhaps I'm speaking from, and that does not say that somebody else is not content. I'm just speaking from a place of just being in whichever situation that I find myself in.
Yeah.
But perhaps that's because of that. I will tell you this. In the course of my life, you see things, and you know how things are not permanent. I know that firsthand. You know, where you've been through it all, essentially. You've literally seen it all. You've seen the good, you've seen the bad, you've seen it all. So, right now, I'm just at a place where it's not fear. It's just be. It's not fear, it's just be. If it comes, good. If it doesn't come, I mean.
But how many people can be at the place of just being? Not many people can be there at the place of being. Because when you have, and if you look at it, okay, it's how we think about money. Basically, like the author was saying, the fear comes from how we think about money. As you are saying, if it comes good, if it doesn't come good, you understand, you know that definitely it will come. It's how you think about money, because you've been through it. You know that, okay, there are good days and there are bad days, but money will definitely come. It's how we think about money.
Right, so your mindset is what would determine your attitude towards.
Because if you live in a state of a better, like
I have to hold on to those, I have to.
Some people hold on to certain things, and after a while you'll be like, why are you even holding on to certain things? You understand? But for me, as I said from last week, I have been so frugal with money. So I know that when I don't have money in my pocket, it doesn't mean but
there's always something to fall back on.
But I don't get up thinking that, okay, where will my next meal come from?
Right.
You understand? But sometimes when you have the money mindset that the money will finish, I have to grapple. And you find that people drive up fear in the workplaces and everything, trying to hold on to so many things that at the end of the day, you realize that you are only grappling sand. I always say that sometimes you work in an organization with people, and before the month will end, there's so much complaint about the fact that the money was not enough, the money was not this, the money was not this. Remember last week, I said that if you are not able to manage 10 cedis when you have it, when 10 million cedis is given to you, you still can't manage it. Able to manage it. So it's the way we think about money. If you think that money is a fleeting thing that is passing, then definitely when you get it, it will be fleeting in your hands. But when you treat money as something that can be managed, something that can also support what you are doing, money comes, money goes. But how you relate to it, if you find it as valuable, that you handle it with care, the same way that money will be there for you when you need it. But if you find it fleeting, and then you end up buying this, buying that, right, before you realize, that money will be gone and you'll still be in that same mindset. It's the mindset.
I appreciate that. I'm going away with it's the mindset, because it could also simply be that perhaps personally money is not it's not the beginning and the end. That other things matter too, or matter more. I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah. And also, that sometimes you definitely that you are living beyond your means. If you are living beyond your means,
you have that fear.
You have that fear.
Right.
That one day all of it can go. Right. One day it will catch up with you.
Right.
Because if you are living in a rented apartment, you are buying all the designer things. Let me tell you a funny story. So, I was in my house, okay. There's this house that the landlord hey, what is their watching?
They are not watching. You mean your other house?
My other house. Okay, so one of the houses. Don't make that example, because I just remember that a lady on my street told me she saw me on African TV. So oh my God,
I'll start reading the next nuggets. But find a way to bring that story. I need that story. Right. Okay. So let me continue. So this would be nugget number 3.
Yeah.
This one is track your expenses. And it says most people don't know where the money they earn goes. We talked about this last week. Where did the money go? Most people don't know where the money they earn goes. What percentage of your income goes to food, transportation, clothes, Just like in any successful business where you track the revenue and costs periodically, it is also important to track the expenses in our personal lives. Nigerian women have to become the CFOs of their financial lives and learn to take control of the income they earn now, instead of waiting for their incomes to increase in the future before they learn to manage money.
Some women have no idea how much their lifestyle costs. She may not spend recklessly, but she subconsciously develops a habit of spending, good or bad. If you don't treat the money you earn with respect, it will leave you with no respect. We have to learn to spend with intention by allocating our resources to reflect the lifestyle we want and are able to sustainably afford. This all starts with having a clear idea of where the money is going in the first place. You have to give up the excuses and learn to control money instead of letting money control you.
I feel like we had this conversation last week.
Yes. So if you don't track it, how will you know where it's going?
Right.
And I remember you sharing that example about the fact that you had a conversation and then it all ended up in the food.
Yeah.
But let's bring it home, you know, to apart from food, I mean, transportation, clothes has been mentioned here. And I know we'll talk about the story, but in the story, it's about this lady who was driving a Benz, living in a rented house. And they all caught up with her because at the end of the day, she realized that her Benz was giving her wahala, you know.
Because the repairs were costing her an arm and a leg.
An arm and a leg.
Right.
You know, her rent and the apartment that she lives in, she has to pay service charge. So where are you living? You know, how much service charge are you? And you know, right now in Ghana, we have quite a lot of nice apartments
that require the service charge.
Because of course you're not going to be cleaning, you know, and all those things. So they require the service charge, which you have to pay monthly. You understand? Where the weddings that we attend, it's become a whole razzmatazz.
Tell me about it.
You know, people doing all the colors and everything. You know, especially if you find yourself in the bridal party, then you are dead. Because the budget...
Add the ED, dead.
The budget that comes with it. And because friends want to do it for friends because they feel that if it's my turn, they will also do it for me. Because, I mean, in my days, I'm not that old. Don't roll your eyes like that. But it was those days... I don't know, but if you wanted somebody to be in your party, I thought it was your cost to, you know, foot everything.
Cater for the person. Because, I mean, get the person the dress and all that. But now, it's like, okay, the person decides that you are in and sends you a bill or a budget that you are supposed to follow and then gives you clear, you do your makeup, your hair, this very detailed from these shops and everything. And then, you know, when they have the wedding, they line up all the vendors, you know, this by this, this by this. But it costs money. It is money.
And if you can't afford it, and then maybe let's take it that you have a lot of friends, and every month boys, this thing, every week there's a wedding, then you are changing outfits. And most of these people cannot even wear the same outfit twice because they don't want to be seen in it. So those are some of the places that the money is going. Let's face it. Restaurants in Ghana, most of them are very expensive. So if you eat out a lot, that is also where your money is going. And eating out, we're not talking about going to the Amelia and buying wache or this thing. But you know, there are so many bougie places. You know, you also want to hang out there, eat the sushi, you know, drink the fine wine and all, and the champagne. Yeah. But at the end of the day, you can't do it every week. So if you're doing this every week, you think that, for example, if you earn, say, 5,000 cedis a month, it will be able. But when you do all the calculations, electricity bills are going up. I mean, the amounts that we used to buy sometime last year, by the end of the quarter, it had increased, it had doubled. And not because maybe you decided to install other things, but the economy is progressing. Kwame Nkrumah's hand is still pointing forward. So
I disagree with you about that, but let's keep it going.
things are getting, I withdraw that. But no, this year I'm a good girl.
Please be.
Things are getting expensive. Like the bills are getting, like the cost of living in this country is getting expensive. So that is why we have sometimes people agitating for better things. But maybe if they also looked inwardly, you know, and then start managing it, because of course, obviously, things will not go back to costing less. It will still be, you know, costing more expensive. But you ask yourself, how am I going to make sure that the money that I earn at the end of the month is able to sustain my lifestyle by making sure that you live within your means?
Prudently.
Yeah.
This question of tracking your expenses and knowing exactly where the money goes, I think that perhaps it's the main thing.
Yeah.
It's the main. There was something here that I took note of. This one. It says we have to learn to spend with intention. Impulse buying. We have to learn to spend with intention by allocating our resources to reflect the lifestyle we want. And the most important thing, are able to sustainably afford. So there's a lifestyle we want.
Yeah.
And then there's a lifestyle we are able to sustainably afford.
Exactly.
And so you go with the one you are sustainably able to afford. Because going with the lifestyle you want could land you in serious trouble.
Exactly.
Serious trouble.
Exactly. And
serious trouble.
You know, one of the things that you can do, okay, when you're tracking your expenses, is finding out your wants and your needs. It's always been said that when you put a list together, you know, these are my wants, these are my needs. Sometimes you think you need everything.
You really don't.
Until you start really like thinking about it and then writing it down. When you think about it and you write it down, you know that, okay, these are my wants, these are my needs. Even with the needs, when you want to put money to those things first, sometimes delay a bit, you know, like you try and then say that, okay, I really need this pair of shoe, but delay for like a week or two.
But whoever really needs a pair of shoe?
Oh, some people might really need a pair of shoe. You have no idea.
Okay.
Some people might really need a pair of shoe. Because if we are sitting here purpley like this and we really needed a purple...
That's what I was about to say. You don't really need a purple shoe, Hilda. You don't really need a purple shoe.
To come here and brighten up the space.
Now let me tell you a funny story. So towards the end of the year, a friend, you know, comes by the office and she presents me with a small white mini bag, very lovely bag. Thank you, Nanekia. And you know, I was surprised, excited, happy, but I was like, hey, Nanekia, but what did I do to deserve, you know? They said, I saw you on social media with a white shoe and a pink bag.
You really needed a white bag.
And so I'm sure she's sitting in the house thinking, look at mommy, how can she be wearing a white shoe? And so she
gifted you, eh?
Right, but I'm saying that you don't really need
a white shoe. A white to go with the white shoe.
Well, and that's the thing about the need, the wants and the need. It's not a need.
Because I need a purple shoe.
It's really not a need. It's just a want. Yeah. And this is who says, I mean, where are the rules for fashion?
So, are you trying to justify wearing the white shoe with it?
Listen, I'm owning it.
You're owning it. No, but this is it. So when we try to separate it.
Sorry, Hilda, I also wanted to talk about this about not being able to wear your clothes again.
Yeah.
We have Hollywood stars who are flaunting the same clothes 8 times. Like this lady, she's dating Common, this comedian. Why did I just forget her name? Her name was just in my mind just now. Oh, Common's girlfriend. You can look her up.
I don't know Common.
Oh, sorry. Right. Oh, but she's very... Haddock. What's the first name? I've forgotten the first name. Anyway, But she's made a point. There's a particular white dress she has that looks absolutely stunning on her. And she's made the point to repeat that dress over and over and over and over, all to counteract this thing of when you wear something, you can't wear it again. I mean, where did that come from? It's my dress. I bought it. So it looks great on me. I'm going to wear it again. I mean, what?
Wow. It's good that you brought that, because you see, most people don't know that what they see on social media, most of it is borrowed lifestyle. Not borrowed as in I went to borrow something. But for example, if you're an influencer for a brand and you are modeling their clothes to show the world, half of the time, maybe those clothes are not even in your wardrobe. These celebrities abroad, etc., they have stylists that style them, and they get all these things together and then they put them in. Most of these are not on their wardrobe, If you notice, the Kardashians always put up, they have this Kardashian clothes where they sell the things that are actually theirs. After a while, they sell them. So you are not wearing your clothes again because you are following a celebrity lifestyle. What are you doing the ones that you have acquired? Are you finding a way to recoup your investment, or they are just sitting there gathering dust or taking up space?
Right.
You understand?
Because it is money.
It is money.
It is money.
It is money.
Yeah.
Because you see them periodically always putting things up for sale. They are their things and people are buying them. You know, but here, I don't know how many of our celebrities do that. So if you are not even a celebrity, why will you be there and put such a stringent rule of I'm not wearing the same thing twice, or I don't repeat outfits, or, you know, re-rocking is always the ish. All you need to do is just mismatch, you know, just wear the white shoe.
I'm not mismatching. I'm wearing my thing. I'm wearing my dress.
Wear that white shoe with the red bag. Wear the red bag with.
I'm wearing my dress.
But the thing is that there's no rule.
Right.
You understand? Don't put yourself in a situation where you cannot afford that kind of lifestyle.
Right. Okay. So let's come to the next one. This nugget says, slay your debts. Slay your debts.
How you can slay your debts.
Slay your debts. It says, debt can be a useful tool to attain financial success, but how you use it matters. Wealthy people use debt as a tool to leverage their investments and grow their cash flow. But poor people use debt to buy things that make rich people richer. Only borrow to acquire an asset that would appreciate in value.
People with bad debt habits will typically go into debt buying things their income cannot support. They will borrow money to purchase big ticket items that don't appreciate in value and most likely can't cover the cost of debt over time.
Immediately I think about a wedding. Why would you borrow money to support? Because a wedding is not even an item, it's not an asset. It won't appreciate in value. You know, there's no value to start. To even start that conversation. So yeah, I mean, wealthy people would, from what we are read and hear, use that debt to sort of help appreciate in value an asset or so that they have. Makes sense. Honestly, like you were saying, I don't see how debt should be slayed or can be slayed in any way, shape or form. If I have the money to buy it, I buy it. If I don't have the money to buy it, I don't buy it.
Exactly. You know, but you know, when we are talking about debt can be a useful tool, it's more of like when you are there sort of thing. You understand? You have to
the billionaire kind of conversation.
Yes, because you know,
not here, right?
It's not
all the way up there.
Yeah,
right.
Not when you no. Right. That's one that is slay or debt. You know. Right. You know, there's this account thing as a Kafo Didi. No. This type of Kafo Didi is not what we are talking about. Right. You understand that you are slaying your debt because you see what they are saying. Well, people use that as a tool to leverage their investments and grow their cash flow. Right. You don't have investments.
So what are you going to leverage?
What are you going to leverage?
Right.
So unless you have reached a stage where you have some sort of, investments, you have some sort of something to leverage, then you have no
right.
business thinking that way.
Right. And also what it is say you have a house and you use the house to leverage for, say, a car. You know that, put your salary aside, your investments can cover the cost, the monthly payments of the car.
Exactly.
So it's not a risk.
Yeah.
It's a very calculated, cushioned risk, because
exactly.
you know that, you know exactly where the money is coming from.
Exactly.
Whether you lose your job or not, you're fine, you can pay for that.
Mm-hmm.
So, like you're saying, that's a totally different conversation.
Exactly.
From you who doesn't know, if tomorrow you get sacked from your job, or what, and then you go and use your house to leverage a car. That's recipe for disaster.
A recipe for disaster.
That's recipe for disaster.
And most people don't know that when you own a house that you are living in, it's not an asset, it's a liability.
Expand on that, Hilda.
Yes. So let's not take this that somebody will say, oh, okay, so I have a house, I can go and use my house. If you're living in that house, it's a liability. It's not an asset. Yes, because
if you lose it, you are homeless.
If you lose it, you are homeless. So you find people living in a big house and everything, and then taking loans, using that very house as collateral, and then the unimaginable happens, and then they are homeless. Because you don't do that. That house that you are living in is a liability, because one, you are paying to live inside. It's not earning you any income. It's not. And let's just say that there are people who own properties in certain areas that, of course, the cost of living there is very high. But you can live in a place where it's a bit cheaper and rent that property.
Right.
And that becomes your asset. You understand? Then that one, when you are leveraging that property on it, because you know that you earn something from it, it becomes a way to yes. But if not, then you are in a recipe for this disaster.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Whatever the occasion, with ATL, you can never be out of style. ATL, bringing fabric to life.
Welcome back from the break. We are still reviewing The Smart Money Woman. I am really loving this book. I am.
I can't wait to get into the story.
I can't wait to get into the story too. Okay, so smart money lesson: build an emergency fund. We live in a very superstitious society. So even when we hear the terrible stories of people losing their jobs, or women losing the breadwinners of their households suddenly, then falls into relative pennilessness because they can no longer afford their rent and have to beg friends and family for money to pay the children's school fees, we think, God forbid, not me. Sometimes though, bad things happen to good people. So instead of worrying without action, we need to plan for emergencies.
A smart woman doesn't wait for financial surprises. She systematically saves towards her emergency fund because she knows that this is the foundation of her financial journey. The cushion that acts as financial safety net. So before you splurge, make sure you have at least 6 to 9 months of living expenses saved up for emergencies. An emergency fund is not here to make you money, but to act as financial cushion that protects your long-term investment from short-term unexpected expenses.
Ditto.
Yeah. This one, must we talk about this?
Ditto.
It says there, if you are smart,
That's
smart woman, just make sure that you have an emergency fund. So I learned this thing. Okay, so you know how it's easy to talk about all these things, but then when you have all your money in one place, all these things that we are talking about, you can start very well, but it can just go haywire. So I was listening to this celebrity on YouTube, and she's very wealthy. I think one of the Real Housewives. I don't know if you watch Real Housewives.
No, I don't.
You don't? Okay. So one of the Real Housewives, she's very rich, and she does this money making Monday thing. And she had this investor coming on, and one of the things that they said really helped me. They said that don't keep all your money in one bank. Don't keep all your money in one bank. That's one of the things that they said. Because I realized that for some time, even though I had my money in different investments, it was all in one bank. So yeah, the bank was doing the investments, etc., etc., etc. And what she said really, really got to me. So I thought about it, and I realized that it's true. Because you know what, if it's in one bank, and now that we have all these digital platforms coming, it's very easier for you to move the money from here to here when this is depleting. But when it's in different banks, you know, it becomes a bit complex because you wouldn't want to now be driving here and there. And then she said the next thing, she was like, okay, so separate the expenses also. So when you have this bank that handles your investments, etc., etc., make sure you don't take all the cards that they advertise. You know, this card, credit card, debit card, this kind of card, this kind of card. Make sure that you don't take.
It's an investment account.
It's an investment
money
account.
goes in, money doesn't come out.
Money doesn't come out. No matter what, money doesn't come out. When you have that account, you know you don't have a card, so you can't, of course, go there.
There's no temptation
to do that. And then she also said about this same emergency fund, that making a conscious effort also in another bank, because you see, because it's an emergency fund, you don't really put so much there. It's just like you are storing up. They said,
6 to 9 months of living expenses.
Exactly. But when you start setting up an emergency fund, it's not like you're going to put 9 months all together and put it down.
Not at once.
Of course. So maybe it'll be like, the loose change, this is the money that I'll fall back on. And let me tell you something, Amma. I started doing that and separated the money. So when I say loose change, like if I go and work, I do a job for somebody that is not my 9 to 5 that will give me monthly salary. Anything that was being given to me in an envelope, usually is given to you in an envelope. You have the option to keep it, and it will all be gone in a few times, or you can save it. So I started
given to you in an envelope. You're giving me ideas.
It's given to you in an envelope because it's not that much. Pardon? No. You go and do a job. Because it's not much. Like they give you TNT, 100 CDs, 200 CDs.
Right.
No, please. I don't do bribery. Corruption, cause no, it's those small monies that they can't, like, they feel, say, because who accounts you know, it's a waste of time or something. So 100 CDs, they just give it to you. In an envelope. Right. It's white, it's not brown. So I started saving those little monies. Sometimes it's difficult because maybe you've you went to speak somewhere, and then they said, oh, we don't have anything, but your amount of TNT could be 100. Maybe that fuel that you brought there, you could have immediately used that money, to just top up your fuel and then go back. But I started thinking that, okay, I went there.
Whether they gave me or they
didn't give me, I was okay. So then instead of just going to immediately top up the fuel, I go and then put it in the what's it called?
Emergency fund.
In the emergency fund. I go and put it in the emergency fund. And then when I decided that, okay, I'm no longer doing 9 to 5, it is that same emergency fund that I started surviving on. And it had grown quite substantially. So sometimes you do these things. It has to be, conscious effort. As I was saying, it's 100 CDs, 200 CDs, 100 CDs. Those are actually the range. I don't know why. Please, this year won't increase. 100 CDs, 200 CDs, 100 CDs, 200 CDs, sometimes 150. But that was the range. But because it was that conscious, when I checked the balance, I was like, wow, this had really, really, really grown. And of course, it wasn't just sitting there. Because of all the knowledge that you have, you also need to make sure that fund is also revolving. It's working for you. And then that is it. So you don't wait for surprises to spring up before you. The other emergency, which I think some of our insurance companies are trying to do, is the whole the funeral package,
right?
Things that people are doing. And a friend of mine lost a relative, and she was telling me of the benefits of it. And I was like, oh, wow, I didn't know. I hadn't considered it because, of course, we are superstitious. You don't want to start taking a funeral policy for a relative, and then in the next the person
it's like you're
preempting. But these things are to avoid the embarrassment usually that come from that. And I'll put wedding as part of the emergency fund. If you are young and you want to get married, start saving towards it. I mean, you want to have the whole fairy tale wedding, set up an emergency fund for that. If you don't want to set up the emergency fund for funeral or for sickness or something, set up the emergency fund for your wedding. Because people have known to go into debt or find themselves not sleeping in a good place after they've been married, and that's really worrisome. You show the whole world all the opulence, and then when you get back home, you don't have anywhere to sleep. So we need to also make sure that we set up emergency fund for those things as well.
Absolutely. But I can't stress enough. I like what it said here. It says, make sure you have at least 6 to 9 months of living expenses saved up for emergencies. 5 to 6 months of living expenses saved up for emergencies. So that if anything happens, you know that you have 5 to 6 months where you can fall back on your own resources. And I mean, it's time enough to sort yourself out.
Exactly. It's time enough to sort yourself out.
Yeah, you can sort yourself out.
And when you have that also, it shouldn't be that, oh, I have that, so I don't have to.
No. It's money you put and you forget.
Yeah.
You don't have it.
Yeah.
And then you find a way to let it roll over, some emergency funds are very, very, very important.
Very.
I mean, nobody needs to overemphasize that point, because things happen, life happens, and you should always have something to fall back on. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. This one says, articulate the vision you want for your life. Articulate the vision
money goals
you want for your life. Money goals, huh?
Yeah.
It says the most successful people are the ones who are able to articulate what they want for their lives. Success is deeply rooted in having a solid plan that is tailored to what you want.
Yep.
Personal experience. So for the longest time, what we did at the start of the year, at the end of the year, getting to the start of the year, was to plan for the year ahead and say that this year, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to do. This is what we are doing, And honestly, it helps. It helps. I think it's this year that I said, Charlie, sometimes God has his own intentions, and you can have your best laid plans, and he would have, so let's just leave it to him and let's see where it goes. Because last year our plans were just there's a biblical expression for it, shaking over, and give me the
running over.
So I was like, Charlie, let the universe do as it would, because sometimes it tends to surprise you pleasantly.
So that's why you have the emergency fund. But Amma, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't plan.
Oh, definitely not.
Yeah. So you plan, like you are saying, you should have your money goals, because you see, if, for example, let's take it that you both want to further your education, you have to decide that, okay, because it's going to cost money. For example, tuition, everything. But it's not only tuition. You can get a tuition bit sorted out, but then you have to think about care at home for your child, all those things, those other expenses. So you look at all that and then you plan towards it. Of course, if things doesn't go your way, for example, maybe you're expecting a full scholarship, you've been promised a full scholarship, and you're so excited to go, and then all of a sudden there's no scholarship, so you can't go, then what happens? Or you decide that, okay, if there's no scholarship, we are still going to pay. How are you going to pay it? Are you going to leverage on an asset that you have to be able to do that? Or maybe you want to go on a vacation. You plan that in a year. We'll do a couple's vacation, once a year. We'll do a family vacation once a year or something. I'll do my girls vacation. I'll do my, So you see the way what I'm planning. That sounds nice,
exciting.
But yeah, I would love to go on a spree, just with my friends,
right.
Just go vacation somewhere, Last Friday was my one of my daughters, I'll call her birthday, and then I remember she's telling me, it's my birthday. So I said, what do you want to do? She said, oh, she wants to go on a trip with her friends and all that. But she realized that they were all busy, so maybe she's just going to do it on a download. I was like, okay, has she considered doing a solo travel? Because for me, when I was turning 25, those were the things I wanted to do. I didn't want to be going anywhere with friends. I just wanted to do like a whole solo travel thing, just explore the places myself. Because you see, when you are trying to bring other people in, so long as you are dependent on them, of course, then you have to be able to willing to fund some aspects for them as well. Okay. And at that age, you might not be financially fluid to be able to do that. So you need to have that. Have a vision or write it down. Bible says make the vision plain. If you don't write it down, you don't know where you're going. So the vision board thing, it really helps. At first when they said you have a vision board, put the house that you want on it and everything. It sounds strange. Maybe you might not do
whimsical.
Yeah, whimsical, But it said it's there in the Bible that you should write the vision. You should make it plain. So when you write the vision, and say, what do you want your legacy to be? Because we are all at a stage where we are looking to leave a legacy for the next generation. You understand? You don't want to be there and then tomorrow you are gone, and then what? So what did you come and do? Ali, so but when you are thinking
your whole existence,
your whole existence, So what it says, and I think that in the days of old, that's what those people were thinking about. So then they build their companies and name it and Sons, this and Sons, But now you can't be doing this and Sons.
No.
But build. What are you? The legacy. That's what you're. So then you break it down. Sometimes when we look at it so big, it seems so big to us that we can't achieve it. But when you break it down into the short-term goals, I always say that I want to have a time that I can just pick up my checkbook and maybe there's a project that I'm passionate about and needing funding, and I just write, $1 million, and I just sign and I just say, hey, you can have it. I'm looking forward to that day. You understand? So if I'm looking forward to signing a check of $1 million without wincing, that means that I should be building myself up to get to that point.
Right.
My husband always laughs at me because I like swiping. Gosh, and that's one of the things that I stop. Yes, because when you are making good financial decisions, especially when you are swiping across continents, the reality hits you that the way they calculate the exchange rate, you know, when you get home, then you feel it. I traveled and I was swiping, you just give your card, I'll take the card. I'll take the card. And I go home and I got my bank statement. I was like, wow.
Right. Because every transaction comes with charges.
It's just the exchange rate thing.
Of course.
It wasn't calculating like the way I was calculating.
No, ma'am.
Amma.
No, ma'am.
The way I... So I remember this thing that said that, you know, if you also want to be able to have a good money goal, don't spend beyond what is in your bag at the moment. So when you have money in the bank, of course, it's safe to keep your money in the bank. But maybe you can do like maybe a day or a week, you know, withdrawals. Then you know that this is what I have. Then you plan towards it. So when it's finishing, you know, I'm not going quickly to get another one to come and top. And that also helps you to shape your money goals.
Right. Okay. So next one. Develop a sustainable budget. Develop a sustainable budget. One of the biggest issues people complain about when it comes to their money is not knowing how to save or budget. People associate the word budget with scarcity or a reduction in the station of life. Therefore, budget is a word they come to resent. The reality is, a budget is something that tells you how to allocate your resources, and it should reflect what you value. So if I looked at your bank statement, would it reflect that you are spending on the things that you love? Or would it be a reflection of the fact that you don't spend intentionally and allow your money to be pulled in different directions?
The reason most people live paycheck to paycheck is because they don't have a full understanding of what their income can support. Money in the bank is equal to spending. It doesn't matter whether you earn 10,000 cedis or 10 million cedis a month. Your resources are limited and consumption tends to rise with income. So it's important to have a spending plan that takes that into consideration.
So here's the trick for guilt-free spending: the smart money budget. I know the idea of a budget makes most people nervous, but it shouldn't, especially if it's easy and reflects the things you love. The smart money budget is a way of allocating your resources. First, divide your income into 3 parts: long-term financial goals, short-term financial goals, living expenses.
Long-term financial goals. So at a minimum of 20% of your income, it represents a proportion set aside towards improving your net worth. That is, buying assets that will provide you with an income. Good examples are towards purchases like land, property, or a stock portfolio. Short-term financial goals: the proportion of your income set aside for treats, a Chanel bag, an iPhone, or a luxury holiday, whatever tickles your fancy. Living expenses: your monthly contribution to your rent, health insurance, cable, satellite television, petrol, service charge, etc. So they give us a breakdown of incomes that look at distributing your salary.
Right.
And we can talk about it, Amma.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So let's delve into the this part. The reality is, a budget is something that tells you how you allocate your resources, and it should reflect what you value. Okay, so if I look at it, will it reflect what you are spending on? Will it reflect that you are spending on things that you love, or it will be a reflection of the fact that you don't spend intentionally and allow your money to be pulled in different directions?
Impulse buying.
Yeah, not necessarily impulse buying. So what this is telling us is that, you know, the way that we are all working to earn a living, but most of us don't spend the money on things that we actually love. We allow our money to be pulled in different directions.
Oh, I see where you're going with this. Keep going. I like it.
Yeah, because you see, you earn an income, and for example, you love to go on a holiday, right? But instead of saving that money and then going on their holiday, you wake up and then a friend calls and directs your money, basically. Another one calls and directs your money. A relative calls and directs your money. And at the end of the day, you grow resentful that you are making so much money, but you are not enjoying your money. And that is a situation that most people find themselves in. I've been there before. You understand? Because I end up taking care of everybody, but not myself. And I always thank God for the man I married, because he can chastise you to think about the things that are really important. Because you know what? Much as it seems like you are doing good, you begin at a point to resent the things that you do, because you yourself end up feeling so drained, and you are saying, why am I even working in the first place if I can't afford certain things for myself? So this is a very good thing to be able to do a sustainable budget.
But you see, not to catch you here, but here's the thing for me. A lot of the times, those type of spendings are not so much to be good, but to keep up appearances.
Obviously, sometimes, yes.
Right? Because people are pulling your money in different directions. You know that you can't afford it. You know that the money that you have is for this, right? If I give this person 200 cedis, and I give that person 300 cedis, and I give that person 500 cedis, there'll be none left for me and the things I want. And yet people still feel compelled to do that.
Yes.
Why?
You said keeping up your appearances, but then
Because you want to look rich, like you can afford
you
it.
want to
When
look
you
rich.
can't afford it.
Not that you want to look rich. You're afraid of what people will say, that you are stingy, or you don't want to
It's
give.
money you don't have.
But you have. It's for yourself. Yeah, so people shouldn't be guilt trapped into spending their own money on yourself. You understand? So, for example, like was it a movie that I was watching, and then somebody asked somebody for money, and then the person said, "Oh, I don't have that much. I can give you such." And then I think on the flip side, the person sees the person say, "Oh, okay, let's just do it. Give me. I want to buy pie." They say, "Oh, I don't have money for pie, but I can get you this biscuits costing so and so."
Right.
Then on the flip side, you see the person that you asked the money buying the
pie,
and be like, "Hey, are you not the one who said you didn't have money?" Yes, of course. The money I had to buy that pie for me. It's not for you. If I had given you that money, I can't afford that pie. So should I deny myself the pie so that you can eat the pie and then I look good?
And here's the thing. People be calculating other people's money.
Other people's money. They feel so entitled
People
to.
be calculating other people's money.
Yes. Yes.
It's not your money.
It's not your money, my dear. It's not. But it is. We have people with so much entitlement to what people have. It's unnerving.
Why did she buy that new shoe?
Yeah.
Why is she buying that bag?
Yeah.
It's not your money.
It's not your money. It's my money, and I decide. So I'm not entitled to my money. I'm not entitled to my money.
I think we encourage it. That's the problem.
No, because
we encourage it.
We don't know how to say no. So I'm gonna practice when I finish the money in my wallet part, because it helps. Because trust me, I have encountered. I have encountered it before. It wasn't pleasant, and then I was feeling so guilty that like the person has seen me that but then I was like, gosh, wake up, it's my money.
Right.
It's not your money.
Right.
So the money, I also work.
Right.
So if I work, I should be able to also enjoy some of the money that I do.
If you are asking me for money, I can only afford to give you the spare that I have.
Exactly.
I can't eat into my main
No.
for you.
No.
Maybe I've calculated that in 3 months, I want to move into a new house.
Exactly.
That's the calculation that's my main. So whatever difficulties that you are having, I appreciate that. But your difficulties shouldn't deprive me of my main.
Exactly.
So if I say to you that I can only give you 100 or I can't give you anything at this point, and you see me move into my new house, I haven't wronged you.
Yeah, but
I haven't deprived you.
Yes, but it's still like, hey, so you have moved into. Yeah, I just realized it was a movie that we were watching. Yes. It was a movie that we were watching. Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
No, but that is it.
We read a book like that some time ago where, you know, a family
Yeah.
where the man had given all of his money to his relatives.
Yeah.
He had died and his wife and his daughter were left with nothing. Meanwhile, those relatives did not take care of his wife
No.
and his daughter.
Yeah.
They ended up sleeping on the floor in somebody's house.
But they guilt tripped them. You know, the woman who felt guilty, remember, that if he had not asked he has been nicer to the husbands.
Right.
You know, because it's always like that. But we have to shift from that mindset. What is in somebody's hands? It's not yours, please. It's not. It's not. And it's not bad that when people are working, they should. Don't make people feel bad that they what they are working for is not for them. No, don't make them feel bad. At least what do they have to show up? And the flip side, Amma, is that those same people, when you are down, will say like, hey, so those times that you had money, why you couldn't take care of it? You couldn't save. You mismanaged your money. So yes, sometimes we bleed for other people who are even actually holding the knife, and it's not this thing. So yeah, we need to develop a sustainable budget.
Sorry, Hilda, I also wanted to quickly say this. This thing where somebody moves into a new house, or somebody changes their kid's school into a more bougie school. Anything, it could be anything, and people suddenly start calculating your money and decide that they deserve more from you now. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When that might not be the case, the fact that perhaps I've been able to deprive myself of something to be able to move up one step doesn't mean that suddenly I have more. So demand, I don't know if that makes sense. Which is why I normally say to people that, I mean, getting help is fine, but in our setup, when you get the help, be mindful of all of the other issues that will come with it.
Exactly.
His daughter's school fees, his wife's pregnancy, his grandmother's funeral, his child's... It's ridiculous.
Yeah. So anytime that I have advised people that are going in for help, I used to run an agency that provided help.
Whoa,
yes, for people. I always tell them that whoever is coming in, and you know, typically in Ghana, we feel like the person is coming to help you, but you feel like you are doing the person a favor, and that is bad. But if you treat that person as an employee, you know, have the labor laws, you know, there's a whole law. There's a policy for what's it called? Helps people who, you go by that. You give the person a salary, do the whole account thing. Please, the least you can do in case of emergencies are all spelled out. That's fine. But usually we feel like, oh, and the person is living in my house for free, eating. No, it's not human sentiment. So she's eating for free. Why must I pay her monthly? Like, is this? Oh, yes.
What you mean?
Yes. So then after the people also come and settle in, they feel like they are part of you. So they can also then start dictating to you. But if you go in a purely contractual relationship, yes, of course we are human. Of course, if you live with people, definitely. But right from the get-go, if people understand that I'm your employee in your house, I'm supposed to do A, B, and C. If I don't do A, B, and C, you'll be fired, blah, blah, blah. It is clearly established from beginning. It helps. And most people who have had, I won't call them help, like house managers, you know, for a longer period, they have that understanding. Because they know that this is my day, I take a break, you are off duty, it's run properly. It's run properly.
When I grow,
yeah.
When I grow and I start having, help, we will have that conversation.
No, but Amma, you and I will have help because we know that it comes with costs. You understand? But some people will go and take in the help.
For me, I think it tends to become an inconvenience, the help.
Yeah, exactly.
Most times.
So you plan your life in such a way that because you know you are a financially prudent woman, because you know that you have to plan it, because you are human, you are planning for the other person too. Of course. So when you look at it, it's not like you can't afford to pay somebody to come and be a help in your house, but you look at the long term and where you are going, and as you're saying, when we grow,
we will get there.
We'll get there.
We will get there.
Yeah.
We'll get there. Too much for her life, you ask me.
Too much,
let's take a break at this point. We'll come back shortly and continue with a smart money woman. Stay with us.
Whatever the occasion, with ATL, you can never be out of style. ATL, bringing fabric to life.
Welcome back from the break. Concluding part of the conversation, smart money woman. And I think we are done with the last nugget. Should I start?
Yes.
This one says, your network is your net worth. Love it already. Okay. So having an extensive network allows you to maximize your potential. There are no level playing fields, but it can be argued that in Nigeria, let's say in Ghana, the field is a little more uneven. A person's ability to attract wealth is tightly linked to how well they are able to grow and leverage his or her network to take advantage of opportunities.
The operative word here is leverage. Lots of people from wealthy backgrounds have parents who lunch with some of the country's most powerful men and women, but they are unable to leverage those connections combined with their talent and translate it to money. On the other hand, plenty of folks who come from less privileged backgrounds have been able to parlay their way into certain circles by virtue of the value they add.
Mentorship is an awesome way to build your network and accelerate your personal growth. But instead of having the anti-help me approach, it's better to try to build organic relationships. You want a mentor who is invested in your growth and genuinely wants you to succeed. This is more likely when you have built a relationship and they become genuine friends as opposed to a transactional relationship that feels obligatory.
Okay. I know conventional wisdom at networking events is usually sell your market. But take a minute to think about the fact that 1,000 other women are doing just that. So what makes you different? I can't tell you how many conversations I overheard that started with, my name is XYZ, I'm into Brazilian hair, or I'm into fashion. The concept of my business is blah, blah, blah. Let me tell you a secret. They'll smile, they'll nod, they'll even take your business card. But girl, no one cares about your CV or business concept for that matter. You know why? It sounds rehearsed and limits chances of genuine conversation. Instead of talking about yourself, ask questions about the other person. Find common points of interest and then work interesting tidbits about yourself into the conversation. Elevator. Oh, sorry. I'm getting taken away. Please go on. Go on. Yes, go on.
Okay. Elevator pitches are important, but people are more likely to connect with you if you can sell them on your why as opposed to what you do. For example, instead of saying, my name is Anere and I make smoothies, we have apple, strawberry and pineapple flavors, try saying, I used to be so depressed about my weight, but last year I lost 15 kilos with a smoothie inclusive diet and decided to start a business that will help other women like me lose a ton of weight. We are probably going to be more memorable this way.
The business or job opportunities you have access to will come from your ability to harness your network and learn how to convert that network into opportunities, because the more people you are able to reach and influence, the more likely you are to attract new business, gain access to partnerships, or raise funding for your business.
Listen, this one I love.
Why do you love it?
I love. I can't tell you how many events I've been to when it's time for networking and I want to go and hide.
Ooh.
I literally want to take myself, bundle myself up and vanish. Like vanish. I hate it. It's so cliche and I can't stand cliche conversations. It's so cliche. People will come around with their cards, giving their card. Can I have your card? Leave me alone. Go away from me. Because I'm sorry that I'm being so blunt, but it's true. I don't like forced interactions. I don't thrive that way. I'm unable to stomach it. I'm unable to do it. What is this networking craze that has come upon us that everybody must network and we all have, like she said, we have lines to deliver and I honestly do not get it. I'd rather genuinely have a genuine interaction. Maybe I'm sitting by you, we can have a conversation. Maybe something I've said, you can, the last time you were saying this on your show, and we can have a genuine conversation about that. Maybe we share a passion. You know that I love books. You love books. Hey, you know that I love books too, because we can have a genuine conversation. But nothing where this is my card. Can I have your card? No, go away. And listen, Hilda, I don't know how you feel about it. That whole thing is too forced. And it's actually worked into workshops and worked into seminars. So they allocate time for it. It's time to network. What is that?
Are you asking me?
I'm asking you. I'm asking you. What is that? Forced interactions are not fruitful.
Exactly. And I'm also not good at that networking time. Even though when I organize workshops and stuff like that, I also create room for it. But you see, as you're saying, forced interaction is not fruitful. So what I tend to do in the workshops and things that I put together is to make sure that right from the get-go, people have the opportunity to get to know each other, like by the person that you are sitting next to and everything. Right. So that it won't be that
it's natural. Yes. It's genuine.
So you start making the people build that rapport right from the get-go, because then that way someone sitting by you can get to know the person more than getting up and then going to look for somebody standing somewhere. And another thing that I have not been able to also do is the mentorship thing, because I don't know, I can't come. Amma, will you be my mentor?
Okay, that one I make an exception for.
Okay. So,
because
I agreed to be my mentor. You see,
because I genuinely believe in mentorship and what it can do for people. I do. I do. And I also realize that, especially for young people, it's hard. It's hard to see somebody that perhaps you like from afar, or you know, it's hard to approach. So that one, whatever form it takes, I take it. I accept, right? I'm just talking about this thing about networking. You know,
but networking leads into the mentorship bit, right?
Perhaps I'm not expressing well. There's just a certain type of interaction that doesn't sit well with me.
I get you. Because I have a whole lot of cards that I don't remember. I can't put faces to. No, I get you. I get what you're saying. And now it even goes, oh, can you follow my page? You know, there's a fellow one that follow me. And everybody is asking you to follow. And then when you do even follow, and then you even go and ask, the person doesn't even remember where they met you.
Right.
So now you have to remind the person that I met you here and here and here. You were
it's
trying
not
to
genuine.
It's not. You're trying to sell your business, and now you say, oh, follow me. I'm like, oh, this is a young person that is doing something. Let me follow. And you follow, and then the person is now asking you, where do I do? It's like, okay, I just want to sell my things. Just this is what I do. Like, I'm selling smoothie. Hey, come and buy. It's basically that. It's not genuine. And the whole thing about the elevator pitch, it's just so that, you know, because we've been very conservative as Africans, you know, this whole networking and elevator pitch thing is coming so that people will be more open to, it's like, go and get what you want instead of letting, because what you want will not come and fall on your lap. So that's the genesis of the whole thing.
Right.
To get people to open up, you understand, you know, to meet new people, try and then get more businesses. But I think we are still not there yet. So
we don't know how to do it.
We don't know how to do it. So it takes practice. People need to be warmed up into the whole idea. Because trust me, like you, if I'm in an environment that I don't know anybody there, or I don't feel comfortable, and everybody is coming to tell me all those things.
So ask me for my card when I didn't come with any card.
I also don't carry card.
Right.
I just look for the nearest exit, and then I'll probably be gone. But it's because the conversation feels forced and all that, yes. Right. But we need to. So that's what I'm saying. If you are doing an event and you really want people to network, create an environment for them to network. Make sure that, for example, if you are putting, it's a table event, you know the group of people that you are putting there, so that at least the people who come, they can interact together on the table and then take something home. And you see, people shouldn't come feeling entitled that I came to this workshop, or I came to this training, or I came to this conference, and because networking is there and Pratt is there, Pratt necessarily has to be nice and talk to me. Because as you are saying, when you start like that, can I have your business card? Can I have your business card? Already, that person is veiled, and that's what they are telling us. If you are going to say my name is, and I remember attending a class where we were told to introduce ourselves in a way that you will not start with my name is. Because it's become mundane, like it's become cliche. Everybody, my name is. Can't you just tell us without saying my name is? Is it possible?
Isn't it better if the person even asks for your name?
Yeah, the person,
because it means you've actually picked the person's interest.
Exactly, but you even when the person asks your name, it's so this thing for you to just say my name is.
Oh, I see what you're actually worried about, the phrase itself.
Yes. you understand.
The phrase itself.
Yes, the same is because we right from nursery. My name is Hilda.
My name is.
So we've carried that through.
Right.
But can you actually think about how to introduce yourself without saying my name? That's the assignment for people.
Hey, okay. Okay, but I wanted to, and I'll give practical examples. The first time I met Alfredo Kanse, colleague journalist from TV3, I was at the conference center. There was an event, I've forgotten which event, and I think I was by the gates, the entrance or something. And I saw him from the corner of my eye, standing, in the corner, and I remember just walking across straight to him, and saying hi, and telling him something. Like, I went straight to a specific thing, and we shared a joke, and he said, I watch your show too. And I don't know how to, but it was meaningful, if that makes any sense.
It does make sense.
And nobody exchanged cards. Nobody exchanged cards. Right? No, there was no exchange of cards. But
no Twitter handles.
We followed each other on Instagram.
I see.
Right.
That's a new-ish.
I'll tell you how I met Michelato too. We sat on the same plane. So I get to my seat, I sit down, I look this way, and Michelato is sitting right by me. I'm like, gosh, because I've loved her from Ultimate Paradise, and so immediately I start a conversation, and she's amazed I actually remember episodes from what I'm reminding her of episodes from Ultimate Paradise, and we have a long conversation.
Yeah.
The whole flight, I think we're coming from London. I think so. But the whole 6-hour flight was a long conversation. I didn't even get up to go use the washroom. We were so engaged from when we sat down, and we spoke about everything, shared pictures, exchanged numbers. I mean, I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. Connections, human connections are real, and human connections will happen. Even human connections to people you don't think would happen. But the first ones, that's my problem. I don't know if I'm making sense. Because sometimes people walk up to you and you're not even who. I've had instances where people come to me and I've made a Facebook post about this. I say, Wilamundi, please, your enchanted love is still around in my inbox. Come get him. Because I'm not the one he's even. I don't know if I'm making sense. Like,
no, you're making sense.
Let human interactions be genuine. It's more meaningful. It's more productive that way. That's the only way something concrete can come out of, But people tend to engage just because. Maybe it's a conference. You've been introduced as something. They don't know you. Never heard of you. Don't care about you. They don't care about you. But just because there's a portion of the program that says network, they feel compelled to come and network with you somehow, some way. For what? I don't know if I'm making sense.
No, you are making sense, and you really are making sense. This is what I'm saying, that people need to be taught how to network. It's very important that you are taught how to network.
I'm saying that you don't have to network if you don't have to.
No, if you don't want to.
If you don't have to.
And you don't want
if you don't have to.
Because some people go to these things, because remember, we are talking about smart money and saying that your network is your net worth. So if you are going, you have a purpose for going to that event, it's a business decision. And most of these big conferences are sponsored by people's organizations. So they're supposed to get there, get to know people and bring business in, right? So if you have to, then know how to go about it the right way. If you're going there because it's an opportunity to sell your products, then know how to network the right way. Because if not, it will not become a network to you, basically. And there's nothing wrong actually with going to a place, and if you don't want to network, you don't network.
But I mean, you could also end up with a pile of cards that would be nothing but paper.
Yes, I have a pile of cards.
That would be nothing but paper.
Yeah. But people just like flaunting their cards, around, hey, I have a card. Cha-ching, cha-ching.
Have
my card. Before even the person will even speak, the card is out. I mean, those days are over. And I think that people should rather learn how to network so that you find yourself in a place where you can network
I also want to mention this briefly, and I wish Petra was here. This is something Petra spoke about at Obasm, I think the first one. She spoke about how your mentor is not, I've forgotten the way she said it, but essentially she was saying that you don't have mentors to solve your financial problems. And she repeats that this author also speaks about just this anti-help me, the anti-help me approach. Where people come, you know, to you, or people go to, you know, prominent people for mentorship, and it ends up that it's all about money.
Say yourself.
It's all about money. But that's not the essence of mentorship, is it?
Yeah, so it's basically comes down to the same thing. People need to know what they are going there for. You understand? And I think that most vulnerable young girls and now young guys have found themselves in situations that they didn't want to or didn't anticipate because they went asking for the wrong things. Because of course, if you go to somebody and you're asking the person to mentor you, and then you start complaining that you are hungry and you don't have a shoe and you don't have a this thing and vulnerability sets in, the person can end up taking advantage of you and providing the financial needs rather than providing you the direct mentorship to help you propel in a career of your choice. So yeah, these things people need to be taught. If you are going somewhere, know what you want. Know exactly why you're going there. This is my goal for attending this function. Okay, I need to meet Amma Pratt. When I meet Amma Pratt, what do I want Amma Pratt to know? Or what do I need to get from Amma Pratt? And it shouldn't be that I want Amma Pratt to give me money, because Amma Pratt is not going to just dish money from her pocket and give to you. You understand? So if you know that and you've packaged it, and then of course you say it in the right way, like she's saying, my name is this, I thought, no, say, oh, I lost a ton of weight, blah, blah, blah. You know, those things. So practice it very well so that when you present it, even when you go and meet that mentor, you should be able to tell the mentor that this is what I know about you. This is where I know you have moved to. Like this person I'm trying to meet. When you move from here to here, you move from here to here, I want you to hold my hands and guide me, you know. And then you also have to do the follow-up and all that.
To share the experience on how you manage this situation.
You need, and mentorship is not one-time thing. Okay, it's a process. You don't just go. It's not going to seek advice. You are not going to see a therapist. Mentors are not therapists either. So you don't go to see somebody and you want ask the person to mentor you and you expect that overnight, then everything will be okay.
You are the best of friends.
You are the best of friends. No. It takes time. It's a relationship that you are building. So build that relationship first. And then as you have built that relationship, with time, certain things, you know, the nuggets, you know, will begin to fall on you and then you pick it up. You know, sometimes it involves having to, even if like a mentor that you are following have to be at a program and says, oh, I need you to come to this activity, you go and it's dragging, but then you are sacrificing also because you know that this is what I put myself into. But then again, know what you want, and if it's not going the way that you want, there's no force that says that this is the only mentor for you. You want to give yourself, you can say, oh, I think that this relationship is no longer working, I'll prefer to move on to the next. So yeah. And if you're mentoring someone and you feel that you can't do it, also be able to tell the person that, you know, my time and schedule is not going to allow me to be able to mentor you A, B, and C anymore. And it should be fine. Other than that, you just put yourself in a situation that will drain you mentally, financially, and everything. Yeah.
And we don't want that.
No, we don't.
We don't want that. As smart money women, we do not want that. It says in Africa, discussions of money and assets in a family in the context of what happens when the breadwinner dies are almost taboo. And as a result, this leads to disputes within families when the inevitable happens. We need to have more conversations about estate planning and wills. In simple terms, how assets will be divided in case of death and who the beneficiaries are. Women need to start asking tough questions about life insurance, debt, deeds, brokerage accounts, trust, and in general, where financial records are kept, who is on the next of kin form, etc. In the event where the woman has no formal occupation and no income of her own, she is protected. It is better to be prepared beforehand than to wait for tragedy to occur before these discussions are had.
In addition, when couples are coming together, money matters should be a well-considered part premarital counseling. A discussion about the expectations of each person's responsibility is critical. We all come from different backgrounds and carry our own money biases and habits, and we often assume a synergy with our significant. For example, Sade and Femi get married and live together for the first time. Sade comes from a home where her mother was a housewife and her father the provider. So even though she works for a living, her notion is my money is my money and Femi's money is our money. If Femi comes from a family where both parents contributed equally to the household and believes strongly that Sade should contribute to the household expenses without a proper discussion, this can cause significant problems.
Okay. There's also the issue of understanding each other's money personalities, establishing who is the saver and who is the spender early on, and to protect both parties. It is probably best to keep personal finances separate, but to have a joint account for household expenses with pre-agreed amounts that each person contributes.
Can we talk about it? We really have time
Briefly.
to talk about it. Okay, briefly. So yeah, families need to have these conversations. You know, I think that in the past, people relied on the extended family system. So it never really came up that, you know, it was automatically thought of, you know, that when you have this matrilineal inheritance thing, that the family was automatically step in. But nowadays that families are becoming more nuclear, you know, in practice, where we don't have extended family feeding into living with us mostly. It's good to make sure that the nuclear family understands the money. The husband, the wife understands where the money is coming from, where it's going, etc. And it's very, very important. A lot of people enter marriage and then immediately they want to do joint accounts. I don't know the rationale in that, but it's not, we are all not saying that something will happen, but disaster is inevitable. I mean, this week I think, is it this week or last week, we heard about some explosion happening somewhere. I mean, those people didn't know that anything will happen. Most of them, it's an accident. If there's a rain and there's a natural disaster and you lose everything, it's an accident. So what happens if you keep all your eggs in one basket? Having a joint account as a couple is just keeping all your eggs in one basket. If you still insist on having a joint account, as the book writer is saying, have that account where you both contribute into, so that at least you know that this is for the family expenses, that this is what you are going to be using this thing for. And also, I think that it's also healthy that each person knows what they are using their money for and have the freedom to do whatever once in a while that they want to use it for. If the man feels that I want to go golfing with the guys, so I take a part of my money to be able to go golfing, it's totally acceptable. But at least you know that he's contributing to the house. If the woman feels that, hey, I still need to take that Paris trip with my girls, take that trip with her girlfriends, you know, once a year or something, it's totally acceptable. But you know, it gets complicated where we are all contributing into one pot and you feel that somebody is overdrawing on that pot, and that becomes problematic. I think because we all come from different backgrounds, we all have different money languages, and you can't change somebody just by living with a person to understand your money language, because the money language is built from childhood, right from childhood. And if that person hasn't cultivated that habit, there's no way within 1 year, 2 years, 3 years of marriage for that habit to be cultivated. So it's very, very important as families have that conversation. If you're not a family and you're going out with somebody, please, the signs are always there. You know who wants to spend, who doesn't want to spend. It doesn't change when you enter marriage. That thing that some women will just be there and then be fronting. When you get into marriage, you'll still be fronting for the man if he's not providing. So please, those things, let us stop it now. Yes, let us stop it now. You know, it's different. You know, it's different if your husband has the money and all that, and then he prefers to hand it to you to pay, or you also don't mind because you know that, oh, this is our account and we know what is in it. So if you are spending, you know that it's spending. But you know that thing that you know that the person genuinely is not making any money but still wants to take you to the very high end places because you are making the money, and you end up spending, and you end up telling everybody that it's him that is spending. No, we are growing, we are progressing, and the progressive woman is smart about her money. So also let us know and be smart about our money and have the money conversation.
Absolutely, absolutely. Our time is up, Hilda. Our time is up. Next week we would dig into the story itself.
Yes. I can't wait.
Yes, we dig into the story.
I want to say thank you. A friend bought me this dress.
Oh, our friends are awesome.
Yes. So I'm telling her thank you.
I haven't mentioned her name.
Ajo,
thank you.
Ajo, thank you. And as I have said, please just bring more.
I didn't buy her the dress if it's, crashing your finances. She's smart money
She's
woman.
more frugal than me, trust me.
Hilda, it's always a pleasure.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure.
Thank you
so much for having
But
me.
next week we'll get into the story.
Yes.
Absolutely. So thank you for watching. Next week we would come back with the smart money woman. I hope that you're enjoying this conversation. If you are, please do give us that feedback. We need to hear what your thoughts are on what we've been doing so far. So it's been 2 weeks of the smart money woman. Next week we are back, not with the nuggets, but this time with the actual story. Have a lovely week. Don't forget to be smart about your money. See you next week. Bye.